England have already announced their squad to take on Wales in the final round of the Six Nations this year, and there are a lot of talking points, a lot of controversial points, I think, as well. I've just actually finished my slightly late England v Italy reaction. Do check it out, please, up there. I know it's a bit late, but I was at the game, so I had to rewatch the game a bit later. But yes, Steve Borrhwick, as soon as I dropped that and finished editing that, announces this squad and lots of talking points. But let's get into the first one. We have to talk about the first one. Henry Pollock. Henry Pollock is in the substitutions bench. And, I mean, what fantastic news that is for him and England Rugby, of course. He is the sort of, I don't know, people have been talking about that sort of a boy wonder coming through the under-20s. Obviously, he starred in last year's Six Nations. I think he won 3 Man of the Match awards out of 5 games on the way to England winning the under-26 Nations. He also then wins the under-20s World Cup with England. So this guy has been on a phenomenal rise in the age grades. And then for Northampton Saints, he has been brilliant whenever he's played in the Premiership. People say, how will he adapt to senior men's rugby? Fantastic. He's been absolutely brilliant. So we'll get into all that talking point in a second. But I think we'll go back and start with the actual forwards starting in the game. And here we have the starting forwards. And I think we should get into the main point straight away, which is we're back with Twindaloo, Ben Curry and Tom Curry, both starting at flanker for England. And I have a bit of a problem with this, I must admit. Tom Curry has been the best player for me in the whole Six Nations so far this year. Definitely the best player for England. He's been absolutely phenomenal, world class, almost guaranteed a Lions spot. Definitely almost guaranteed a Lions starter. So I do have a bit of a problem with this though, because this is against Wales. No disrespect to the Wales, I think they're going to be really good in this game and really put us under pressure. However, we do have depth in the back row, and Tom Curry has had a lot of injuries in the last 2, 3, 4 years. His body rugby has taken its toll on his body, and I just feel like Steve Borrhwick in the last game in this game could have maybe rested him for one of the games and just better managed his game time, you know. I don't want him to be burnt out before a massive Lions tour or, you know, the run-in for Sale Sharks at the end of the season. So, I'm not sure how I feel about Tom Curry playing again. But, you know, he's had a fantastic tournament so far. If he has another brilliant game this game, I don't see why he doesn't get player of the tournament. And that would be fantastic for him, sort of a comeback, because he's, as I said, he's had a lot of injuries. Ben Curry comes in. He was brilliant off the bench last week. He really had an impact, got a few turnovers. They are just the same person, aren't they? I swear there's just 2 of them. There is no difference between those 2 in their lives, except for the headband. But there we go. Everyone else is the same in the starting forwards pack. Ben Earl moves to 8 and Tom Willis has dropped to the bench. That's the only sort of shift in players. Same front row, Ellis Genge, Luke Cowan-Dickie and Will Stewart, or as we call him now, Will Colby after that step. There is no better step in world rugby from Will Stewart. And maybe Cheslin Colby sort of slightly behind. I forgot to mention Luke Cowan-Dickie is in for Jamie George. Sorry, Jamie George. I don't know. Maybe it was Jamie. You're going to start against Italy on your 100th cap at home, and then you're going back to the bench sort of situation. But Jamie George is back on the bench, and Luke Cowan-Dickie starts, which I don't have a huge problem with. I think Cowan-Dickie does a lot around the park. He's probably one of the best sort of jackal threats in the England team after maybe Tom Curry and Itoje. So, I don't have a problem with Cowan-Dickie starting, but interesting that he has swapped roles with Jamie George again, so he is now starting, and Jamie George will come off the bench in the Principality Stadium. Maro Itoje continues on as captain alongside Ollie Chesham, who got man of the match last game. Not sure how. He was very good, but not sure how he got man of the match. But he had a great game, Ollie Chesham. So a strong pack to go up against the Welsh, and I have lots of confidence, more than enough faith, or whatever the phrase is, that they'll get the job done and sort of really put Wales under a lot of pressure. But this is where we get into the really controversial stuff. We're continuing on with the Northampton Saints halfback pairing of Mitchell and Finn Smith. But then we also have a Northampton Saints centre pairing this time with Fraser Dingwall continuing on as he did last game. But Tommy Freeman moves to 13, which is very, very confusing. Very confusing, because obviously Elliot Daly came in at 30. I said it in my match day vlog. I don't know. Please check it out. It took me ages to edit, and it's really good. It's really fun. But at England Italy, I was at the game, and I said in the match day vlog, I assume Freeman will go to 13 and Daly will play on the wing, Smith at fullback. But they actually put Daly at 13, which he can do. He does it for Saracens quite often. But this game, they've actually gone for Freeman at 13, which is what I expected would happen. But it's just a strange switch up from Steve Borrhwick. So, Tommy Freeman, he's not played outside centre much for Northampton this year. He did a bit more last year and the year before, but he's mostly been at wing this year for Northampton and England. So this is his first time in a little while he's played outside centre. And it's been an interesting test for him. Max Llewellyn been very good for Gloucester this season in the Premiership. So been an interesting battle, Dingwall and Tommy Freeman. I'm assuming Ben Thomas and Llewellyn for Wales. And I just want to talk about the other controversial thing about this centre partnership. It's very capable. I don't have a problem with the actual selection, but it's just a bit interesting because you got, I think Max Jomo was called into the squad for Ollie Lawrence's injury, his Bath teammate. They're both from playing at Bath. Oscar Beard is in the squad as well. He's a centre. Henry Slade has been the main centre for the last year. So it's a bit interesting. You've got Slade, Beard and Jomo, 3 centres, and yet we're choosing to play Freeman, who, as I said, is more than capable of playing outside centre. But just an interesting switch up there from Steve Borrhwick. Is he trying to test Tommy Freeman's ability to play in that role in a long-term sort of capacity, or does he lack faith in his other centre options in the England squad? I don't know. Maybe he wants a Northampton partnership of Dingwall and Freeman. I have no idea what the answer is. I'm just throwing out a few ideas there for us to all think about as rugby fans. Elliot Daly does go to the wing this time, and Marcus Smith goes to fullback. Obviously, the devastating injury for Ollie Lawrence last week. He was playing really well this Six Nations, and it is a long-term injury. He'll be out the rest of the season, so hugely devastating news for him, for Bath Rugby and their fans, and for British and Irish Lions fans, because he might not have started, but he was probably going to get into the squad, especially on the form he was in. And I'm going out to the Lions, so I'm definitely hugely devastated for him. But there's another reason to subscribe, by the way, people, because I am going to the Lions and I want to produce lots of content out there in Australia and just leading up to it as well. Premiership, international, women's Six Nations, all of it. So please do drop a subscribe, please. I'll say, as people say, hit that button. But anyway, sorry, going back to it. And then Tom Roebuck comes in at 14. I think he's been overlooked at Six Nations. I think he's an underrated winger. He definitely has the aerial ability. And, Wales have really, really struggled in the air this Six Nations. It's how they lost to Italy. Scotland put them under huge pressure. I think that Darcy Graham and Kinghorn were, just winning everything in the air. So I'd imagine Tom Roebuck and Elliot Daly and Tommy Freeman as well are all going to be chasing a lot of high balls against the Welsh. And yes, going into the substitutions, we've got to talk about it straight away. Again, I was saying it earlier, Henry Pollock, fantastic for him to be called up to his first Test matchday squad in the main England senior team. He's been really good for Northampton, but I must admit, obviously Sam Underhill's injured. We've got a few other back rows out, but Tom Pearson has been really good for Northampton this year. Better than Henry Pollock. Does he have the ceiling of Henry Pollock? I think he's not far off, to be honest. I think he's a really, really classy flanker or back row option. And I feel like he's been really hard done by here. He's played multiple England A matches and got man of the match in 1 or 2 of them. Henry Pollock's a fantastic player, and there are other flankers and back rowers who've been in the squad, and I feel like Tom Pearson gets so overlooked. Steve Borrhwick clearly does not like Pearson, his gameplay, but something about it, some aspect. So I feel like he can be slightly hard done by here, but that doesn't negate how good Henry Pollock has been. He has been really exciting for Northampton. He's, a young guy, 19, 20 years old, and he's been playing number 8, and he's been effective, like one of their best players. I think it's a try against Cashed, I think it is, in the Champions Cup. It might have been someone else. It's Cashed or Stade Francais, and he just goes through about 3 of them, and it's just a world-class try, and shows the true, determination he has when he goes into collisions of trying to actually use that leg power and drive those legs and get forward momentum, go over the gain line, and he scored a try from it, and he's been really good all season. Other talking points, Tom Willis dropped to the bench, and as I said earlier, Jamie George on the bench now. Finn Baxter and Joe Hayes are the same props to come off the bench. But the big talking point is George Ford. George Ford is the number 23 jersey this week. Last week it was Marcus Smith, but he's now starting. Ollie Lawrence I don't know, it's just strange, isn't it? George Ford coming in. You would imagine they'd try and give maybe a younger player to play in this game. try and give them more experience against a sort of depleted, weaker Welsh team. Also, George Ford is a 10. We've already got Finn Smith and Marcus Smith, who are natural 10s, playing in the game. And they won't both come off. One of them will definitely make the 80 minutes. So you'd imagine Finn Smith is going to be the one who comes off, and it'll be Ford who replaces him, and Marcus will play the whole game at 15. But who knows? They could rejig a number of things. They could play one of them at 12, potentially. I don't know. It's a really odd one. But I still think George Ford is a fantastic player and has a lot of stuff to offer on the field, as well as, more importantly, off the field, in a way, is sort of leadership. And he's on a central contract for England Rugby, so he is going to be still in the squads for at least till Argentina in the summer, but probably till next year as well. But yeah, I'm happy for George Ford, but it does seem like a slightly odd selection, because you could have given some crucial game time to a younger person coming through. But that is the substitutions. Let me know what you think of those subs to come on, or the finishers for England this Saturday. But yes, that is it, people. That is the squad. Let me know your thoughts. We have lots of... I think what we've learned looking at this squad is that we have a lot of depth. You know, we're missing a lot of players still, like George Martin, Sam Underhill. Ollie Lawrence now injured. So I think there's some good depth being built at England. George Furbank, Freddie Stewart is not even in the squad. What's happened to Freddie Stewart in this Six Nations campaign? But there we go. That's the squad for the game against Wales. Let me know your thoughts on it. We've got more videos coming up in the next week or two. Lots of videos on all different sorts of rugby. Six Nations preview, Six Nations fantasy, Rugby Europe, MLR, whatever else there is, I'll try and cover it. Super Rugby probably as well. So yeah, please do like this video if you got this far, and subscribe to see all that stuff coming your way. We're going to be very busy over the next 5-6 months on this channel. So lots of stuff coming out. And yeah, as I said, again, thank you for getting this far. If you got this far, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.